All right, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here today. So my name is Serena, and I come from the Ascott Limited. We are a Singapore-born company that has grown globally. We have about 960 properties worldwide and looking to grow more. But today we're here because we're going to enter into a 10-minute journey on how service residences will be reimagined and how service residences will also play a part in this new era of accommodation. But before we start, let's first answer the question, what is a service residence? So, I used to love the game Spot the Differences, and I thought that this was the last day of the conference. So let's play a game. So I see a lot of eyes fixated on this diagram. And so there are 5 differences. So to your left is a typical layout of a service residence, and to your right is a typical layout of a typical hotel room. So let's look at the screen together, and we're going to spot the differences together. First difference is in the living and in dining space, right? So in a service residence, there's typically a place where you can lounge, you can eat, and you can socialize together, versus in a hotel room where there usually is a book desk or just a study desk. Second difference is that in a service residence, there is usually a kitchen and a laundrette compared to probably like a minibar in the typical hotel room. Third difference is in the storage and the closet space. So in a service residence, there's usually a bit more space as compared to a typical hotel room. And finally, in terms of the bathroom experience, so in a service residence, there usually is either a walk-in shower or a bathtub, and usually for a typical hotel room, it's a 4-point bathroom. And finally, we've noticed that the typical hotel room is about 30 square meters, and a studio service residence about 36 square meters. So within this slightly increased area and size, we have been able to create a very residential look and feel. And if you think about it, right, what is residential living? So you start thinking about how you live at home. So usually when you arrive back home, what do? You put your jacket or your handbag or your laptop bag into in a storage area. You put your shoes in the closet. You then may go and have a drink and fix yourself maybe a light meal in the kitchen. And with that, you'll probably lounge at your lounge area or your desk. And so that's basically what a service residence is able to do, and that's able to give the guests the ability to do all these various activities in the same space, in the same unit that you reside in. So moving away from the attributes or the physical attributes of a service residence, let's now describe service residences. So what I did was that we did a poll, and we asked a few people as to what are the first few words that you associate with when you think of service residences. So let me just go through these with you. So apartment unit, affordable, good value, resilient. We have seen a lot of press during the post-COVID period about how this model has proven to be resilient. Limited service, spacious, caters to business travelers only, good for families, basic. And I think basic refers to not having the amenities and the facilities of, let's say, a hotel. So do these all hold true? So bear with me for a while, we'll get to that point. But now that we've established what we think are service residences, now let's move into the era of accommodation. So what is data telling us, and what are the trends telling us? So evolving travel trends. Interestingly, 53% of business of travel is non-business travel. And non-business travel relates to leisure, relates to relocation, and others. And I think others probably has a blended travel mix whereby you both work and play at the same time. So interestingly, 53%. Now, I know that when I travel for non-business reasons, it's really my me time, and I want to be able to do what I want, when I want. And so non-business travel has a very different slant from business travel. Now, what other trends are there? So we've seen and we heard a lot about changing nature of stays, whereby blended travel, right, whereby work and play becomes commingled together, and this results in short stays becoming longer. In terms of long stays becoming shorter, this because of instances of relocation, whereby it is getting a bit more expensive to relocate entire families to join the travel spouse, the working spouse. So what happens is that the working spouse will therefore need to do a bit more shuffling between where they reside in versus where they work in. So we see long stays also becoming shorter. Other interesting trends also talk about the growth of short-term rentals, whereby both demand for short-term rentals has increased, supply has increased, as well as the prices have also increased. And finally, corporate travel adjustments, whereby in today's world, whereby there's a commitment towards sustainability, there is a much more deliberate decision on travel. And when one travels, it's usually fewer times, but longer. And during these sessions of travel, it is about bonding, about engagement. So it's interesting in that these travel trends point to us in a very specific direction as to long stays becoming shorter and short stays becoming longer. Other travel trends also include that when it comes to leisure travel, 33 to 40% is multi-generational travel. Now, for those of us who have been on multi-generational travel, whether it's with our kids, with our parents, with our grandparents, we know that it tends to be a bit complicated. It tends to be one whereby you want to have options as well. And finally, the final trend, which is about digital nomads, where we can now work from anywhere and travel across different locations and not committing to a permanent destination. So with all these evolving trends, what does this mean in the world of hospitality and in the era of accommodation? What are travelers of today looking for? What do they want? So it's about personalization. And consumers say, 86% of consumers say that personalization plays a crucial role in their purchase decision-making, and this includes accommodation. So what is Ascott's solution? So remember how we talked about my guest journey when I'm home, and we talked about the physical attributes of a service residence. If we layer on the facilities and the amenities that extend beyond the room, what does this mean? So back to my experience that I quoted just now, instead of saying that, I'm going to fix a quick salad, with additional amenities, I can actually go and order room service. I can have, I can go to the on-site food and beverage facility at the Ascott and have, great dinner. I would also be able to use, the residential lounge or the executive lounge in the Ascott and host and entertain. I can also relax at the spa. I can go, and relax in the pool. And so the layering of additional amenities and facilities on top of that residential unit really is service residences reimagined. So at Ascott, we've been doing this for 40 years. It's a very simple solution. And really, it's about giving the best of both worlds, right? Both the hotel experience as well as the service residential experience and combining it together. And this is what we call the flex hybrid hotel in residence model. And this allows us to cater to different stay occasions. It allows us to cater to different stay objectives. It allows us to cater to when we travel with different travel partners. And it's the adoption of new room models, it's the adoption of on-site facilities and amenities so that we are able to cater to various experiences and various requirements during our stay. And we take a look at this slide, our photos really show that at the end of the day, right, we have great room product, we have F&B solutions, we have meeting solutions, and we also provide concierge. So what are the benefits of this solution? So versatility, service residences can be present both in city locations as well as resort locations. We are resilient. We have shown that as we move towards short stay and long stay through the cycles of the economy, we are still managed to attain above market performances. And finally, it's about experience and adaptability, whereby I can choose to entertain, I can choose to do certain things within my unit, but at the same time, I can also use the on-site facilities at service residences to also engage in my other activities. So let's now focus on GCC particularly. And it's interesting. And what the stats show is that the average price of residential real estate continues to rise in cities like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Riyadh. And what has happened is that home ownership becomes a bit more difficult for the middle class, and therefore they are seeking short-term alternatives. Now, according to a study by Urban Living, there is an estimated demand for 8.3 million units, where the current supply stands at only 3.6 million units. So we are suffering from a severe housing shortage. So how do we plug this gap? That is in short-term accommodation. So thinking through about GCC and the potential, we know that relocation is a very huge business model here, and the ability for service residences to play that role in accommodating relocation business is proven. We have talked about high property prices, and this has resulted in the decision to rent, and digital nomads looking to rent. We talk about multi-generational living, and with multi-generational travel, we need more space, we need the ability to bring families together to commune. And we talked also about the freedom of choice, that in today's travel, it's about being authentic and having my own personal experiences. And therefore, it's about staying my way, whether it's for business travel or for leisure travel. So coming back to the first question that we talked about, right, and where we had that question mark, and I said I'll get back to it. Apartment style, yes, I think service residences are apartment style. Spacious, yes, but spacious, in honesty, is basically more design-driven than size-driven, and with very good proper planning, tight spaces can also look spacious. It's resilient, yes, we talked about that, and we've proven that it is. Only for business travelers in city locations, well, I think that we have sort of counted that with no, because in today's world, it's about the experiences and being able to live the way I want to live and being able to decide what I want to do at any time of the day. And so service residences and also the add-on on the on-site facilities also allows service residences to also go into other non-business locations. Limited service basic, again, we've talked about that, whereby it is basically being able to lay on concierge, room service, F&B, meeting facilities, all that within the reimagined service residences. So in summary, service residence reimagined is part of the mainstream accommodation for today's world. It's a perfect combination of amalgamating hotels and residential living together. And indeed, having that ability to reimagine service residences in the GCC, we think is a huge potential. So that's all the time that I have. I'm open to any questions. I'll be around here, but thank you for your time.